Welcome to quite a different type of Railroads Online video for once. Today we finally gotten the official roadmap from the team, and I want to go through all the different infos but also give you guys my opinion on stuff that I'm kinda missing with this entire thing. But to get into any of that properly, I think I should start out by giving you my perspective on the entire game to see where I'm coming from with my ideas. I've been playing this game since late 2022, so sometime after the whole community fallout has happened on Discord and that kind of stuff. I only knew that whatever happened there must have been quite serious. And I know that a few people are still having a few grievances about that. I don't really know what happened. I think it might be better this way. I just hope that the team has learned from that, has grown past it, and nothing like this will ever happen again. And yeah, overall, in terms of how the game has been for me, there have been a few ups and downs, but I think since the early days of having a lot of random derailments, just going over different switches or driving slightly too fast but still very slowly on a straight piece of tech, the game has gotten quite far. So overall, I'm pretty happy with the development, but it still seems very unfocused at times, and a lot of big issues that I find with the game haven't been addressed properly. So I hope this puts stuff onto a decent track in the right direction, and we'll see about that in a moment. But yeah, this is something that, due to how unfocused it seemed at times, and it might just be down to not knowing what they are going for, it's really appreciated to see what's going to come more long term. So starting off on the post, they introduced their new partner for programming. Black Sheep Studio is a small studio that just helps with other people's projects, usually with console games it seems, but yeah, they are doing all sorts of different stuff, but apparently no real games on their own. So that leaves the situation for Railroads Online as it is right here. Starting out on top, we have the core team, the ones that started with this game and also American Railroads beforehand, and are also dealing with the community. So they are managing the Discord and stuff, the community forum on Steam and that kind of stuff, but also doing modeling, development, and yeah, playtesting. I don't know if the playtesters count into the number here, but community managers are like 4 or so, so this is a very small team overall. Black Sheep Studio comes in with 5 people, but they are doing more on the programming side and especially user interface, which, God, does this game need a better user interface. So thankfully somebody coming in and hopefully redoing the entire thing and getting it into a more functional state, hopefully. On the other side, we have Astragon Entertainment, which is a publisher that also does some marketing. So they don't necessarily involve themselves too much with the core development. I think they have been on the Steam forums in the past, but that now seems to be more for the core team to deal with. And yeah, they are apparently doing some quality assurance. I heard a few mixed things about other titles they've been supporting, but apart from maybe dealing with the Steam page, doing a few events here to get the word out about the game, I don't expect too much from them. And yeah, there is more information about that, but also now finally the actual roadmap with a grand total of 7 major updates planned. And there will be more information on the Trello, which I'll also be linking in the description down below. And let's take a look at the Trello now to get into what's really going on here. On the left, to start out with, we have some explanation on the different labeling. Overall, the stuff here is held in pretty broad terms. The next thing here, which is important, the big updates are set, but there's also stuff that's going to happen in between. So that may include bug fixing and performance optimization, and coming from somebody who played GTA Online in years, yeah, definitely needed to do some bug fixing and stuff in between the major updates and not only update the game every now and again when the big ticket items are done. So glad that stuff will be coming every now and again, and that may include stuff like bug fixing, but also new content, like potentially new maps, which I've heard some talks about. So maybe we get an option to choose between the current map, which isn't all that amazing for something on the scale of this game, but hopefully a bigger map with more options to put different industries and that kind of stuff. But also new vehicles, industries, vegetation, and whatever. So the stuff in between the major updates can also be quite major. It's not just tiny updates that could be happening every now and again. But now to the stuff that they actually fully announced, or at least giving us an outline here. Anniversary update, most likely coming on the 1st of October, which would be the 2-year anniversary after the game initially launched on Steam in early access. Nothing really on here. There are a few things that have been teased on the Discord. I'll get into that stuff a bit later down the line. But right now, not too much to talk about, but we'll see in half a month anyway, so who knows. Next thing that would be happening is the tutorial update. So that would be apparently a separate game mode from just what we are doing regularly on the servers. And this is all potentially subject to change, so who knows what's going to end up happening. I don't know if I like the idea of having a completely separate tutorial mode. I mean, a better onboarding experience is definitely needed, but this will likely end up, if it plays out how I imagine, with just, hello, welcome to the game, now do this, now do that, now do this, do that, and so on. It's likely going to explain a lot of things to you that you may not need to know, and maybe just blazing through some stuff that you actually need more info on, and potentially being an issue that once you are done with a mode and you may need some specific information again, your best chance is to just do it all again, and it's kinda maybe not so great. So I don't really know what the best idea is. Some contextual pop-ups might help, but could also be annoying, but maybe just the next point might help as well here. Because the next thing is a wiki section, which is a bit more like a text version of a tutorial. Hopefully not that whole TLDR thing that nobody's gonna read in the help section of the game. But this could be stuff for how to use bridges, turntables, curves, angles, how to terraform, whatever. And I expect this to be more like a text and picture driven kind of submenu where you can go back to and read stuff. Maybe there are small video snippets, whatever could be happening. And yeah, of course, the tutorial will also include some explanation for game settings that might be better off here with a wiki update, but who cares? The thing about terraforming here, it could mean some operations that allow to completely change the layout of a map, like adding actual cuts to the terrain or filling something up as a part that's actually fully part of the terrain and not just using embankment all the time and whatever you are doing with that. But right now, nothing like that is in the game. The map is overall completely static, and I don't see them adding anything like that unless it's maybe in the anniversary update, but who knows. Right now I'm going to assume that the stuff explained here and the stuff listed here is going to be things that are in the game already, so Terraform would likely be just how to build a bridge and a general track on the side of a mountain or something like that. Maybe we get an actual terraforming tool, who knows, but that's something that would be quite difficult to implement. That's not just done in a week or so, I guess. So wouldn't be putting too much weight into this one. New industries without any explanation here, but I have a few ideas. We'll get to that later down the line. But something apparently is going to happen. Map update. This is what I see as the first big one, apart from the anniversary update, potentially, depending on what it is. But yeah, map update. Minimap, compass, option to toggle it, which is nice. I don't know if I necessarily need a minimap in the game, apart from maybe in a station or so, but that would need an update to the game itself, where actually on the map you can see the splines. Right now you only see the basic map layout, and that's really not helping too much. But if that ever is to be added, alright. I don't necessarily need the minimap, maybe the compass would be nice, but we're going to see that. As stated, it should be able to be turned off, so might just do that. New full screen in-game map. No idea what's actually going to happen here. I hope it means actually adding the different splines and all that in, so we can see that. However, there are a few other sub-options that make clear that this is actually a bigger update. Map zoom, going to be important in a moment. New and better icons for production site and filter options. Can include the following: descriptive icons, so immediately show resources and goods. And when hovering over a production site, the map will show the items and the item count. So when hovering over the sawmill, for example, you would be able to see, okay, right now it has so many logs, it can take so many maybe, and it has this amount of stuff in store, so you could come there and take whatever you want. So this is pretty cool, pretty useful. Usually it does teleport there, but having that on the map would be pretty nice as well. And next one, planning tool for splines. So this would be potentially a placeable sextant, which would then give you the terrain height and coordinates of a location on the map. Would be alright, but I would like to expand that a little. I would love to have a planning tool, which is basically the full suite of stuff that we can place right now. But when you start placing it, you only do so as a transparent and go through kind of thing, so it's not fully opaque yet. And only once you're done planning everything out, then you get into placing it, and that's down to something that I would like to see as well, but we'll get to that again in a moment. But just getting some coordinates and being able to lay out the, or just gauge how many, or how steep the transition would need to be between some stuff, that would be nice. But there are other things. And one big other addition that would be amazing, option to throw switches from the full screen map. So you would have an icon for the different switches, and then you just click on it and everything gets set to where you want to go. That would make so many things so much more convenient. I know that's kind of a big thing with train games in general. I know that Derail Valley, for example, you have a little walkie-talkie or whatever, and you can point at different switches that are coming up and then have them switch automatically. And the game kind of needs something like this. You can't always just walk the entire track and set all the switches to what you need for the next train you're going to run, and just jumping off the driving train and hopefully getting to the switch before the train comes is kind of risky, kind of annoying, and this would make things a lot better, a lot more smooth, and really here for that. And this is likely also the reason why we need map zoom, because when you go through a huge station or something like that, if you have all the different telegraph poles, facilities and industries, whatever, and then all the icons for the switches, it would be really hard seeing everything. But again, the unnamed change that I hope is included here is just being able to see the splines on the map itself as well. UI update, yes please. Stylized UI. So something that just looks good instead of the default orange halfway see-through stuff that we got, which is also not necessarily all that functional. So that just needs to be gone, and having a huge update and complete rework sounds good. Menus and buttons, good to have those, I don't know. Another thing I would like to add to this that I hope they also do, I hope they get rid of all the floating text in front of industries, so the stuff like sawmill, logs, 57 out of 100. Put that onto a sign or something. Don't have it as a floating, glowing piece of text just hanging in the air. Just put it on a sign and have something like a counter that, yeah, looks like it could be interacted with by somebody working there. So whenever you unload something or have something produced, it changes the number in there, and that should be alright. But yeah, I hope that's part of it. Would be nice. Spline update. Error message and feedback for splicer placing. Yeah, would be nice to have those. I don't care too much about this one. Usually it's pretty clear, at least to me. Facility snap to splines or spines in this case. Yes, please. Please do that. Would be amazing. I hope that's not too much of a problem to get. I guess it would be mostly adding some snapping points to the different industries or the different facilities, I mean. Yeah, please, basic achievements, I don't care. Moving on, loading screen update is another one that I don't really care too much about. I mean, focus on bug fixes. Yeah, key art and background, loading bar with percentage, general gameplay hints. Yeah, that's all nice to have. I don't care too much about this. Compared to how general the rest of the stuff is, this really seems like a minor thing. Improved loading screen. Sounds like that part fits together there, but also some technical improvements for loading architecture. Yeah, that would be nice. That's something that you can likely spend a lot of time on, just making everything run a bit better, load faster, have better performance overall. But this is something that the game definitely needs, so that's appreciated. Rights and alerts update. Player rights management. So this is for multiplayer hosts. Just options to allow and deny clients to interact with objects, drive or enter vehicles, purchase vehicles, build, demolish infrastructure and buildings, teleporting, editing signs, kick players, and adjust weather daytime. Yeah, this is something that in a game that has online in its title, in my opinion, should have been added a long time ago. Better late than never though, so at least it is on the roadmap now. I hope they follow through with this because the game definitely needs this for multiplayer sessions. I don't think I'd ever be using this game in multiplayer unless I know anybody who would be joining. And also some gameplay alerts that I don't really care too much about, like player joined left. That's a good one to have, just so you know that somebody else is on the map. Storage options, car and engine stuff for fuel, water, boiler pressure. Alright, but I think it's alright to just keep track of that yourself. Okay, that's the stuff that they laid out. Now let's get into the items that I think should be added as well. Since we are here already on the rights and alerts update, you know what this multiplayer game could really do with? A chat option. Do I need to say more? It's a cooperative thing where you need to actually plan out and organize stuff in order to make everything run smoothly, and you don't have the option to just talk to each other with in-game text chat. What the hell? So that definitely needs to be added. It's not on here, so that's a problem. But I hope it's just gonna be part of the updates once they... I mean, they have to know that it's missing. There's no way that they don't know. Other things, and let's talk about the stuff that I think would actually potentially be part of the anniversary update. There have been a lot of hints at town building and passenger trains on the official Discord. I hope that means that they have been working on this for quite a while, because that's not a small thing to add. I know we've gotten all the buildings recently, but if town building is just placed down enough buildings until you can call it a town and nothing is happening in there and it's really not useful for anything, then I don't care about it. If you build a town, you should be able to supply it with stuff. You should be able to have a passenger station, and there should be NPCs walking inside your town, just going from one building to the other maybe, or something like that, just so it doesn't seem to be a ghost town. So I don't care if something like this would come out in half a month as part of the anniversary update, or maybe sometime next year, but I hope that once it comes out, it's done well. That's my main priority on this. But again, it has been hinted at, and yeah, I hope we get something more to do with those building assets than just building our own ghost town, because that seems a bit lame. And yeah, passenger transport has also been kind of hinted at with a little, very tiny passenger station they showed off on the Discord, and also apparently one screenshot of our railroad guy standing in front of a passenger train. But it was kind of hard to see. Another major thing that I would like to see, now getting towards the planning tool thing, I would love to see, at least as a different mode maybe, but maybe also just as a general update, economy in this game. The only thing we can purchase right now are cars and engines, and that's a bit lame that we can build whatever track for completely free, that we can place down different buildings like big engine sheds and all that kind of stuff, and nothing costs any money. I hope they would do something about that, but for that, again, we need a functional and comprehensive planning tool in order to test out everything, in order to get the exact layout of everything down before we actually place it, because otherwise it would be a pain to do anything. So yeah, I don't see any mention of any economy update here, but it's kind of would be nice to also have this more sandbox style mode as it is right now with the game. Just keep that as an option, but I think just having something where you actually need to manage your resources more in order to lay down more track, to establish more lines and that kind of stuff. Maybe with a bank actually working and giving out loans, so you don't ever run into the problem of completely going bankrupt. I think that would really enhance the game in a very good way. And yeah, that would mean everything kind of costs something, and you would likely just need either a huge loan or more starting money in the beginning. Another thing that also has been kind of hinted at, potential new maps. And yeah, I think we just need a completely different place to build in, hopefully as an option, so that people can still use the legacy map, but especially if we want to add more industries and that kind of stuff, the game needs a bit more space. But that's gonna hopefully happen. Another thing that's more potentially nitpicky, but it's definitely very noticeable in the game needs more tree types. Right now it's only one, and yeah, it goes through different phases. It's like a, what is it, pine tree, a fir, or whatever. And later in the year it changes over to a birch tree. And then it comes back in winter, but with some snow on top. So yeah, we just need multiple different tree types. They should be spaced out differently, not just plastered around the map. Could have some areas that are a bit more open, could have areas that have completely different trees and that kind of stuff, just to make the entire thing feel a bit less samey. And I would expect this to maybe be something to be added to new additional maps, and maybe not to the current one, but it would be nice just getting it at all. Would love to see that on the current map as well. I think that would enhance it by quite a bit. Top speed adjustments for some engines, especially from what I heard, the Montezuma, I think that's this one over here, the little tiny one, that should actually be quite quick. Would give it a bit more of a usage, because right now, from the last time I tried it, it just feels like a worse porter. in about every way. It can overall pull a few more things, but it does so very slowly. It doesn't get up to speed very quickly, and it's kind of just an annoying engine to deal with. A cute one, a nice looking one, but giving it amazing top speed would actually make it usable in some cases, and I'd be all for that. I would love to have that engine make some sense in the game. Other things that I would really love to see, and that's kind of about required, a maintenance and repainting workshop. This is something that has been on the old roadmap, and it's basically a shop where you can bring all your engines in and your cars. You can repaint the cars, you can change the text that you can put on the side of the cars. You can maybe change the equipment that you have on the engines, so maybe change up the lights or something, repaint that, give it a different number. And that would all be just so useful, especially with how slow the entire shop is. So maybe you could just purchase a bunch of cars in default color and maybe change the color later down the line, drive them all through the workshop and just give it all the numbering on the side of them and stuff like that. That would be potentially a really huge change. Apart from maybe also having a general requirement for maintenance, who knows? But yeah, besides that, another big point for me would be better loading and unloading mechanisms at industries. The loading is on half of the industries only done through cranes, and that's kind of boring in the long term, and also kind of unrealistic, especially when it comes to something like the boxcars. So the closed compartment cars are loaded from the top through the roof with a crane, instead of maybe having a plank push through the side door and then pushing the tool case through there. I don't know, doesn't make much sense, especially when it comes to logs and the pipes. Would be nice to maybe have a mechanism where they just roll onto the car, instead of it just being cranes all the time. And yeah, those are really used on half of the industries, which means just for the different supply types, it's actually the overwhelming amount of stuff. Because some industries that use cranes have multiple different items, so it's more than half when it comes to looking at the individual types. Also, the unloading, it just looks so cheap and unfinished when you click on a car or just to have an item vanish from it, reappear above you on the or above the platform, and then just drop down before it vanishes again. It's just completely cheap, and it gets even more ridiculous once you get to the different ore types or even the crude oil, which just appears as a sphere above you, splats down onto the platform, and then magically makes its way into the tank. Come on. And yeah, I hope that gets addressed. I don't see anything like that on here, but it would be a general quality of the game update for me. And another thing that they kinda asked about on the Discord is support for custom industry placements. So something like I did on my MIA series, where I moved the industries around to different places. Doing that officially through the game with maybe a free cam feature where you can kinda keep the industry in a certain place and just move around all the different angles to see if it is actually exactly where you want it to be, which would also be useful for different facilities and the likes. Absolutely. And the community has on the poll shown overwhelming support for it, so I hope this is coming to the game. Again, no mention here, but it would be amazing. And just having the option to move industries to different places, even with the same map, it can make a huge difference on how you perceive the entire thing, and it can extend the lifespan of the game for you by quite a bit, just by restarting anew and doing so with a different industry setup. I know it helped myself a lot because I didn't enjoy the original industry placements, especially when it came to the last three. Like, those are really the only problem. The rest of them I was fine with, but the last three didn't really sit well with me. And yeah, the last thing on the list is glitching through trains. This is something that I would like to see addressed. I mean, everybody who plays the game knows this. You come up to a steep decline, you need to get out of the engine and tie a few brakes on the different cars in order to not have everything speed up and derail at some point. And yeah, you often just go into the gap between two cars here and then just end up on the ground. The cars roll right over you and you just glitch through them and you have your trouble getting back onto them. Something like that, maybe getting stuck on the back of a car when you want to jump onto it and getting back to the front or something like that. This is something that I think should also be addressed, and I don't see that happening here. My suggestion for that, maybe just put a hitbox once you connect the two cars, put a hitbox so you can't fall into the gap between them anymore. Would really help with the movement. But I think that's gonna be it from my side. Let's have a quick look into my script here, but I think I just got everything down that I wanted to talk about here. Again, it's nice to have a few outlines, and some of the updates seem to be quite needed for the game, especially something like the UI, and also tutorial always welcome due to the lackluster onboarding situation with the game. But overall, there's still a few major items missing, and I hope we will get something like that soon. At the very least, it would be nice to have an actual feedback section on the Discord in order to give meaningful meaningful feedback on the stuff and not just have it drowned out in the general chat, because it seems useless putting anything like that in there. But yeah, that's gonna be it from my side. Please let me know your opinions on this entire thing, and see you guys next time. Thanks for watching, and bye bye.